Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to Let's Play some Crusader Kings 2, The Old Gods. And I say some because we don't have time to fit a full live stream, or full Let's Play into our schedule, but we're going to play for a few hours while we do some live streaming over there. And I just want to double check that everyone let me know if the sound is still working okay, hopefully. So yeah, Crusader Kings 2, The Old Gods. It hasn't been out very long. I haven't been playing a lot of The Old Gods yet. I've done, just a little bit here and there, and I'm really excited to give it a go. I love the new raiding mechanic and a few of the others as well. Some of the Paradox developers have pointed out that the balance is probably a little bit off at this point in the game. It's possible that the pagan nations are just a little bit too strong at this point. I mean, the balance is supposed to be their instability, right? Like you can gain a lot of territory very quickly as the pagans, and of course make a lot of money by doing raiding, but the idea is that hopefully every generation your kingdom sort of more or less falls apart and you have to keep rebuilding it. So that's theoretically the balancing act. But also when the Paradox was doing their last live stream, Henrik, who is the lead developer for CK2, pointed out the fact that in vanilla Crusader Kings 2, which is with the 1066 start, to make sure that the Muslim nations are the right strength level, they actually make a fair amount of money. They're quite wealthy. But in the 867 start, they might be too powerful at this point. They'll probably have to be tweaked and scaled. So the balance, we may revisit this game later on after a couple of balance patches. And the same thing happened with the Republics. Really when the Republics came out, they were probably, well, there's no probably, they were definitely a little too strong. And they've been scaled back since then, and they're much, much more balanced and nice experience at this point. So now everything's still going well over here. Good stuff. Every time I look over here, I am looking at the chat for the live stream. So yeah. So for now, we'll abuse the fact that maybe the pagan tribes are a little too much. So we're gonna play over here as Svipjod. Welcome to Quill18 tries to pronounce Scandinavian names where nothing is pronounced the way that it looks. So we're going to be playing as King Bjorn Ironside, the king, well, he's actually the petty king of Sweden-ish. So Sweden, of course, is currently still broken up. And Bjorn, we'll go into the game at this point, Bjorn is actually one of 4.5 brothers of a very powerful and famous historical king. I can't really hear much in the way of sounds. We're going to see about putting up the volume a little bit in a sec, because I think the game might be muted. So let's go and take a look at that. Game options, audio. Oh, it's there. It's just very quiet. Okay, which is probably fine. The battles will be a little bit louder, and we don't want that to go over things. So let's go and take a look at our character, Bjorn. I think the helmet's got to go. It's starting to get a little bit heavy and a little bit hot in my head. See, I don't even get, like, this character. What is it? Is it a P? Is it an R? Is it a B? Is it a T? Like, I don't even know how to type this on my keyboard. It's the most ridiculous thing. Oh, I know, people want to keep the helmet on, but... Oh, I can't. It's just too much. Whew. I don't know how people fight in those things. Oh my god, I feel so much louder now. I can hear. It's a TH sound? Oh, that makes sense. Because I do know that the TH sound in English was... Those two letters having the T and H was a replacement for another character. So this is Svithjod? I don't know. Anyway, so yes, we are the son of Ragnar, and I say 4.5 brothers because I have a half brother, Oob. But the rest of us have been pretty powerful and pretty concrete and all that. In fact, we are currently still in a war. We are in the Sons of Lobrock invasion of Northumberland, which is... Let's get there we go, independent realms. So we've got Northumberland. Isn't it this? Yeah, there we go, okay. I guess the mouse level where I was before. There we go, the Petty Kingdom of Northumberland. And the Petty Kingdom is one of the first things we have to talk about in this game. So I am, in fact, a petty king. And that's not a reflection on my, what do it say? Here. Petty Kingdom. That's not a reflection of my personality that I'm petty. It's that this is technically a duchy. I'm technically a duke in terms of the actual kind of hierarchy of things. But they added this new variant title of Petty Kingdom. So I am known as a king, but that's just a label. In all actual manners of gameplay, I am still a duke because I don't actually have a proper kingdom yet. And so there are many petty kings, but they're all dukes in here. So, and we're currently in an invasion of Northumberland. So it's my brother King Halfdan, the White Shirt, who is in probably Jorvik over here, which I believe is York, actually, right? Any UKians over there? I'm pretty sure the I don't know, the town, the area, the county of York was one of the places that was sort of retained by one of the brothers in an earlier war, and it was sort of pieced out. And this guy was like, the legend goes, part of the peace deal is he would only keep as much land as he could cover with the hide of an ox. All right, so that's what they agreed to. And apparently, so the legend goes, this guy cut the hide of the ox into such a thin strip that he was able to encircle like the entire town of York or something to that effect. So, you know, he scammed these guys into giving him a huge kingdom still on Great Britain. And then a few years later, apparently we restarted the war. So some of my brothers have actual land, and others are, one of them anyway, is just an adventurer. One of these is leading the adventure band. So this is King Ivar the Boneless, King Halfdan the White Shirt, Ube, and King Sigurd? Snake in the Eye. We'll call him Snake in the Eye. He's a petty king, so it must be this one here. Ube. Come on, click on him. Leading troops. Petty kingdom. One of them had the adventurer flag. Doesn't really matter. I think there's an invasion with, like, you know, a landless character leading the way. I may be wrong about the initial setup. It's not important. So we're currently in this war, but I'm not convinced that I actually have to be all that helpful in it. We'll take a look. This is a big number of troops that we've got going on. I'm pretty sure they're going to be fine without me. I would much rather spend my time planning my ambition of taking over all of Sweden. So there's a couple of things we got to do for that. First of all, okay, again, we are a petty kingdom. Now, we can create the kingdom if we go to, if I click on my current title, where do I go? De jure, there we go. So our lands here are part of the de jure Kingdom of Sweden, the actual Kingdom of Sweden, which is currently not formed. We can create it as long as we hold at least 2 duchy titles, and we have a bunch of money. And we also need some piety as well, which the piety shouldn't be hard to come by. The biggest thing is we need like 400 gold to officially form the Kingdom of Sweden, which is what I want to do. We also need to control 2 duchies. Okay, and we don't have that now. We have 1 duchy. We have this petty kingdom of... And that's it, and we have some counties. So luckily, we actually have enough counties that we can create some more duchies. We can create the Duchy of Bergslagen, and we can click on de jure for that. So that's this area here. So we own 2 of the counties that make that up, so we can easily make the title. And then the other title we can create is the Duchy of Östergötland. And we actually own all the counties for that, which is pretty funny. Unfortunately, it still costs 200 gold. So at this point, we need to create at least one of them. And then we need a kingdom, which is going to be like 600 gold by itself. Someone's asking if you can form the Kingdom of Finland in here. And I believe the answer is yes. De jure kingdoms. There it is. Finland. Finland, Norway, Denmark, Lithuania, Rus. And that's the de jure. That's not what exists at this time. I believe we have, my son-in-law over here, Rurik, is currently in Holmgarder. Can I buy a vowel? Like RDR? Actually, that's not even a D. It's probably like an ED sound. Holmgarder. I should stop trying. I should just literally, no, just stop trying. So I think he's going to be trying to form Rus at some point, which is quite neat. At least until the Mongols show up and kick their asses. So yeah, so de jure kingdom. So I would like to form Sweden. So there's that way. So technically, I don't even need to take over another piece of land to be able to form Sweden, assuming I've got the money and the piety. However, there is a really cool mechanic in this as well, because right now I need to pick an ambition. I can choose the ambition to become King of Sweden, which clearly I have. And if I do that, I actually get a valid casus belli on everything that is part of the de jure kingdom of Sweden, to literally just like declare war and have these people bow down to me, even without forming the title. And it's pretty easy, and we should be able to take over quite a lot of land, and we probably will do some of that, but it's important to point out that we don't actually have to do it. And yeah, like we don't have to do it. But the nice bonus of it is once we do it, we get 1,000 prestige as soon as we become the King of Sweden. So that sounds pretty good. So if we can pull that off, it'll make me quite happy. Some people are suggesting that the D with a strike in it is pronounced like a D and then a Z with an accent on top. That doesn't help. Come on, guys. Anything I can't type on the keyboard, I'm not going to be able to say. People are crazy. So, yeah, different ways to proceed. So again, I don't think I'm going to be contributing in the war over here too terribly much. I think what we're going to do is we're going to try our hand at doing a little bit of raiding, make some money, and see how quickly we can form Sweden. I'm hoping I can form it in a lifetime and make it pretty easy. Now, we actually the heir of quite a few things, which is kind of cool. We have a son who is the heir to our kingdom, and currently has no titles whatsoever. He likes me a fair amount, which is good. He is currently unmarried, so we're going to see if we can do something about that. We also have a daughter who is the queen of, oh yeah, Holmgargbing over here, which is why my son-in-law. So my daughter is married to the king of this area, or the petty king of that area. So that's why we have that kind of relationship. There's a good chance that this guy is going to ask me to participate in the war later on. And, you know, I'll probably say yes. How active a participant I am will depend on several different factors. Well, you know, we'll see how it goes. I do need to get a hat back on, though. You know, I guess we'll go with the fedora, just because I feel like I've got helmet head. So yeah, get the money, get the titles, make Sweden. That'll make me super duper duper happy. It would be nice to get some more kids, to be honest, and unfortunately our wife is a little bit old. Luckily, we're not limited to just our wife. I mean, we could, you know, get rid of her if we wanted to, but she's actually a pretty decent steward, so that's good. You know, and she likes me. We don't need to kill her. We can get some concubines. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't actually played far enough to know exactly how the heritage of children had by concubines. Are they bastards? Are they full sons? Can I legitimize them? We're going to find out together. So, you know, that'd be fun. So, I mean, we do have a line, but our son himself is not married yet. So, he does have a kid, though. Bjorn, named after me. So, I'm Bjorn, and my son is Eric Bjornsson. And then we have Bjorn Eriksson. I love the way that they, the last names, you know, have that proper thing. Does he have a lisp? God damn it, that's going to make it really hard to rule Sweden. Fucking damn it. How bad is lisp? I mean, I have a little bit. Diplomacy -1. It's not the end of the world. All right, so let's get our guy married. I don't know how many good options there's going to be at this point. We're probably not going to spend a ton of time shopping around. We just generally want someone relatively high-statted altogether. We'll sort by, I don't know, you know what, we'll sort by martial, because that'll probably come in pretty handy. You know, there's no one with a helpful genetic trait in this list. Now, we could probably hunt around a little bit more, but that's okay. We are going to, these people are from the Isle of Man? Right? Is that in Man? Too old. And these are all lowborn. You know what? Actually, we're going to wait, because if we get them married, this will still make an alliance, though, which is kind of interesting. But we lose too much prestige. You know, he's not going to be able to get married right away. We're going to wait for a few more options to sort of spawn or something. Right now, the family tree is not particularly stable, but it's not the end of the world either. What kind of ambitions do we have available for us right now? Wealth, virtue, improve our stats, and then that. So the question is, do we want to start with the ambition of being King of Sweden right away, or do we want to pick up one of the other ones to grab some stats first? Because we're not going to be able to start on the Sweden thing immediately. On the other hand, I don't want to be in a place where I'm ready to form the kingdom, and I'm annoyed by the fact that we still are stuck with another ambition, right? Still, they do resolve pretty quickly. Like, I might not want to take the intrigue one, because raising from 2 to above 8 might take a long time. But stewardship, I only need one event to trigger to give me +1 stewardship, and we can get that wrapped up. And I think that would actually be pretty handy. Get 100 prestige for free, which will be kind of handy. We can probably do that while we're still amassing wealth, forming the duchy titles, and then we'll just wait for the kingdom thing until we can do the ambition again. I think I like that. So I'm going to go with the +1 stewardship, which, again, should wrap up pretty quickly. Now, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get some concubines for ourselves, just to see how it works. And I'm going to talk to my brothers over here. Hello, Snake in the Eye. Do you happen to have a concubine available for me? We've got Edla over here. She's 16. Acceptable stats. Proud, trusting, deceitful. You know, she's fine. She'll do. And we'll take a concubine and see how that works. We'll take a look at our kingdom. We'll take a look at the council a little bit more in a second here. So yes, these are ducal laws. So even though, again, we're a petty king, we don't actually get exactly the same powers as an actual kingdom. And there are limits to what we can change here. We can... Right, we can't go absolute cognatic because we're not Basque. We could change it to agnatic, which is male only. But I think that tends to be poorer, generally speaking. We can't change the actual succession laws away from Gavelkind. Not until, I believe, we reform our religion. That doesn't mean no longer being Norse, right? We can still be Norse. That just means sort of making it an official organized religion. At that point, we can change our succession laws. Because Gavelkind is kind of brutal, right? Our lands are going to be divided amongst our sons, basically. Which is a little bit unpleasant. Now, our eldest will keep the primary titles. So that's who we will continue to be. So ideally what we do is we form Sweden, and then he will continue to be the king of Sweden. And we'll lose some of our actual domain, so some of our counties, which can weaken us definitely, and especially since there's a really brutal short reign penalty, especially in the pagan nations. So inheritance is very, very tricky. Let me deploy my council, and I think we're going to unpause. The new technology screen is awesome. We're going to definitely talk about that. I like it a lot more. It reminds me a lot more of how it works in EU4. They do go up sort of organically by themselves, but you can also accumulate points depending on your stats, your advisors, and a few events that can trigger. And you can use these points to instantly unlock a new technology level, which is very, very handy. Our military, we have no retinues yet. We have fleets, and any non-pagans basically start with no ability to raise ships at all at this point, which makes it very easy for us to raid and then run away and do cool stuff. Plotting, I don't think we are going to necessarily use any of these plots right now. We could revoke some counties, but frankly, I'm at my domain limit as it is now anyway. No factions, and then religious, the Norse faith, moral authority, and we have bishops, head of the religion, and yeah, reform the Norse faith. We're 50%. Moral authority and a bunch of piety, and we need Norse holy sites. So if we actually go to this is because this is a new feature. Where's the is it just on the religions view? Yeah, there we go. So we've got holy sites for the Norse. We've got one here. We've got one here, for example. Here as well. Is this a holy site? So the more holy sites you control, the more moral authority your church has, and the more you can sort of do things with. So it'll be something to look at a little bit later. So let's deploy our council. And, oh, we've got seer. Is that what it's called? And apparently, ladies can be seers? No kidding. Well, that's very cool. So overall, it's mostly the same thing. We can convert places. Now, I think all of our places are currently properly Norse, so that's not going to be a high priority. We can research cultural texts, and we can also improve religious relations. And there's tons of reasons to do all these different things. I think I'm going to start with researching cultural texts in my capital of Upland. Our spy master. So the spy master can do, wow! He's a super good spy master. Now, stealing technology is pretty handy, but one of the things I found in my test game is there's a lot of assassination that seems to happen in... oh yeah, converting people is very hard before we reform as well. It doesn't tend to be very functional. You don't have a pretty effective sort of way to proselytize to people. Yeah, so stealing technology is always good, but I found that in my test games, these sort of Norse people tend to be pretty heavy-handed on the assassinations. Like, they're pretty bloodthirsty, and I want some stability, so I think I'm just going to do the plot discovery as much as possible and keep myself protected. Just play it kind of safe at this point, especially since right now I have a pretty thin family tree. Things could go very badly very quickly. Doubly so with Gavelkind, right? We've got our steward, and I would like to collect more taxes. I'm a little worried about him getting attacked, but it's not the end of the world, and that's a pretty big tax modifier. And again, we could just start doing the research economy tech, which has a lot of value too, but I think we're just going to go more taxes. We will also go and train troops so we can get a bigger levy size. And our chancellor, I don't think we need to be actively fabricating many claims right now, because I think most of our places that we have short-term goals on, we are going to be attacking pretty legitimately. Like, we should have pretty legit reasons to bring them in. Maybe not to add to our domain, but at least to subjugate them. So I'm not sure that we want to do that. Plus, we want to save money for the actual titles, and fabricating actually costs money. So I'm thinking we might, like, offensively do some So Descent. I'll take a look at my vassals, see if there's anyone who doesn't like me. No, people like me pretty decently. Might like me a little less once I start sort of stirring the pot over here. But I think we're okay. So I'm thinking that I might actually start screwing with my brothers. Yeah, we really don't need claims because anything coastal we've got a casus belli on, anything neighboring us we've got a casus belli on, and again we've got all the ducal claims we can press and the kingdom claims, and then when we decide we want to be king of Sweden, like it's going to be really, really easy. We've got infinite claims basically, so I'm mostly thinking of screwing with my brother. So we can check his vassals. Now, is this his opinion of his liege? Yes, okay. So we'll find out who likes him the least. Where the hell are you? Here. Oh, this is one of your lower subordinates. It's actually in the capital, which is somewhat less than ideal. Who leads? Maybe here. Yeah, I like him at 46. So we might start to drop him a little bit. Just because we're a jerk. We could get busted, which will hurt our relationships, but we'll sort that out in the future. All right, so now we still have unpaused. I'm pretty sure we're going to raise an army and go up pillaging at this point, because cash, good, right? So, in fact, let me put a quick cut in here, and that way I can label this video as just sort of introduction, and then people can skip to part 2 for the actual gameplay. So let me quickly do that.